Welcome to WTF, the only askreddit channel that will blow your mind. Like and subscribe right now to support Pepe's career as an independent musician. Askreddit. Parents of uncool children, when did you realize your child wasn't one of the popular kids? There is a 10-year difference between me and my youngest brother, and I first noticed that he was just not a cool person when I picked him up from school and found out that he has a tendency to hiss like a cat at people when they said something he didn't like. God, I love the little weirdo. Holy shit. I feel bad for him. He will look back at himself in about 2 years and think, God, that is embarrassing. Source: may or may not have spoken in Shakespearean dialect for a while. Sucks to think parents have to think about this stuff. I'm graduating high school in a few months and I don't want my parents to throw me a grad party for this exact reason. I doubt anyone would come to it. I've got a fairly large group of friends, but I'm close with none of them. I kind of float around, not close to anyone, and on decent terms with everybody. That was me in high school. Still somewhat true today. You'll find out who your friends are after high school. Most will drift away, that's normal. Your bonds will become stronger. Turned out none of them are. Time to start over. I know my daughter is uncool. Why? I have no idea. She's a great kid. Very outgoing and funny in that third grade kind of way. She gets picked on a bit for the things she likes. Hello Kitty, Barbie, MLB, ECT. As a kid I was super unpopular too, and I tell her all the time not to worry about it. She'll find that group of friends who love her to death and wanna play with her. She came home last month very excited because she, a new girl in school, had the same Hello Kitty backpack. They made fast friends, and I hope they stay friends. Her single dad is pretty cute and uber dorky like me. Edit. It was last month, not last week. If that's not a premise for a rom-com, I don't know what is. My daughter has always been quick to make friends. She always has someone to play with at the park. Kids follow her around like she's their leader, and she has a blast. In school, though, she's not popular. She is the oldest in her class because her birthday is so late in the year. So she's taller than everyone, started losing her teeth before the others, and more mature than some of them. The other kids pick on her, call her names, hide her things, make fun of her bunny teeth, adult teeth that are still that cute, but a little too big for your face stage, and give her a hard time. I don't understand it. She's so popular at playgrounds in the park, but she's an outcast at school. When he cried all the time in 1st through 3rd grade, then in 5th grade, he insisted he was going to be a dragon hunter. That continued for a few years. He actually researched getting grants so he could travel to Europe to dig up dragon bones and prove they existed. Then he got into drawing swords and writing stories involving the swords. It's all good. I accepted him as he is and got him playing Magic and D&D. Now, he watches in them all the time and is working with people to develop and write an online RPG game and site while doing online schooling and working 2 part-time jobs. I figured he wouldn't ever give me a grandchild, but she's due in July. I don't know if she's uncool yet because she's too little, but I witnessed a situation that brought up a lot of feels. My 4-year-old daughter went to a birthday party of some little girl from her kindergarten. They had these many blow-up jumping castles. I noticed 2 little girls standing at the entrance of one that blocked it when my daughter tried to get in and made up some rule about why she couldn't. I did laugh my ass off when my daughter immediately thought duck it and just ran around the back to the other entrance. But the girls got up and went to other one when my daughter hopped in, leaving her in there alone. I got really depressed just watching her play by herself and the other girls being mean. Part of me wanted to deflate the other castle, sealing the little girls in a rubbery tomb. The other wanted to run over and just hug my daughter and never let go. Needlessly to say, I bought her lots of lollies and played with her like crazy after the party. But then a few days later, when I dropped her off the kindergarten, some of the girls called out to her and ran over and started playing. I can't figure out toddlers' social dynamics. Toddlers are the masters of arbitrary hatred. Arbitrary hatred. Arbitrary likes/dislikes. It's amazing how much Reddit resembles a group of toddlers. My oldest is a crybaby. I love him to bits. but he's a whiner of the highest order. I guess I realized it about when he left kindergarten. He's in 5th grade now, and he still curls up in a ball with real tears whenever he thinks he might be in trouble, even if he isn't, which he almost always isn't. I love him, but it's sad. I used to be just like that, and it was because I disliked when anyone showed ill feelings towards me. As I matured, I realized that the ill will was deserved, and I should take responsibility for my actions. Also, I misinterpreted situational anger as a permanent degradation of my relationship with said party. So the crying gives pity and reassurance that the relationship has not deteriorated. What worked for me was working on self-confidence and realizing if someone dislikes me for a past mistake or for no apparent reason, it's their problem, not mine. Of course, I still try my best in being respectful, and that's all I can do. I suggest working on his confidence and understanding how relations between people work. He'll probably grow out of it himself when he's constantly made fun of by other kids for being a wimp and realizes all his friendships are with other weak kids. Or not. I feel my parents are secretly disappointed of my non-existent social life. Mine aren't secretly disappointed. My oldest son has always been quiet and a bit of an introvert. He is tall for his age, lanky, wears glasses, plays trombone in the school band, and is a complete computer geek. There were never any delusions that he was going to be one of the popular kids. That said, he is popular amongst his fellow nerdlings. My youngest son has always been pretty popular, especially among the girls. We have had little girls calling the house, giggling and asking to speak to him since he was in 4th grade. He is in middle school now, and I fear what it will be like when he gets into high school. I'm an older sister by 8 years, and I noticed my middle school sister wasn't popular simply on the basis she got bullied so much that she had to hide in the library during lunch, and she takes an odd route home to avoid the kids who would actually corner her on the way home. She's the extremely shy type, and asshole kids don't really help that. They stole her lunch and spit in it once apparently, and she came home depressed one day because of it. That's awful. There's a huge difference between someone being uncool/unpopular and someone being harassed by assholes. I hope she's doing better now. When they reminded me of myself. My middle child loves video games and is amazing at academics and has mild autistic tendencies. My eldest loves bugs and animals and gets distracted easily. Neither one of them is prom king/queen material. The youngest is a born cheerleader. My son, who is almost 15, has several learning disabilities, ADD, dyspraxia and mild Asperger's. He finds it very difficult to make friends and keep them. He also struggles with low self-esteem. I've tried to get him into all sorts of different hobbies, but he's not interested. The only thing he loves is video games, to the point that he could easily play them for 15 hours a day. He also has a very offbeat humor which most people don't get. I love him to bits because he's my son and his heart is in the right place, but I do worry about how he is going to get through life and form healthy friendships and relationships. I had 6 children, 5 girls and a boy. Some were popular and some weren't. My unpopular, kind of reserved and socially awkward during primary school. Son is in med school and will be a doctor next year. I don't think popularity is necessarily a good criteria for judging how your child is doing. In some classes, the kind of behavior that allow you to fit into a class and be popular are not all that positive, such as bullying more vulnerable children. I think the most important thing is for children to be true to themselves and who they are and not compromise that to fit in. Hopefully they will find friends who are like them. I thought that it was interesting that the creators of South Park were nerdy kids who didn't fit in. Sometimes the most successful school children are not all that successful when it comes to real life, and the children who are strong enough to be themselves can be quite successful. Sometime around middle school, it became apparent that regardless of who she tried to be friends with or how much effort she put into being social, she was always the odd one out, always the friend, and never the best friend. No one calls her to hang out or go anywhere. She doesn't date. I still haven't figured out why, unless it is basic not wanting to be seen with someone who might be a lesbian. This is the southern US after all. It's killing her. It's killing me to see how isolated and left out she is. She's nearly done with high school and I can only hope that college will be better. For now she has an online group she considers friends. There's that, at least. I'm an uncool adult. I was never popular at school. I'm 51 and was pretty much a nerd before it was a recognizable thing. I liked maths, computers, and philosophy and didn't like sports. In Australia in the 70s I was quite unpopular. Much to my surprise, my children are both popular, and my son in particular is very cool. He's good looking, already making some money as a child model. He's not very verbal, tends to give 1 or 2 word answers to things, often reacts coolly to new situations, makes friends easily, and is quite popular at school. When he was younger in social situations I tried to guide him. Don't talk to that stranger, leave those people alone. You don't know them etc. But now at 5 I just leave him to it. He's actually better at these things than me. He just goes straight up to a new group of kids and within moments is accepted. I find it a bit surprising, but I'm quite happy for him. I'm just gonna put this out there because I think there is a generational gap for what is considered cool between every parent and child throughout the history of man. When I was in high school, I was far from cool, but held my own in my own way. Was respected for being my own rare bird, even though I didn't have a natural place within the hierarchy of cool. I decided to run for a class office for my senior year and went up against some more popular folks, but ended up winning by a landslide. I will never forget how crushed I was when I went home all elated and I told my mother that I won, and that look of shock on her face when she said, "I never thought you'd win. I didn't think you were one of the cool kids." So just note that being cool in the traditional sense doesn't mean that people don't notice, nor respect, nor understand or get someone. So what you may see as uncool in your child / sibling / whatever may be respected by others, even if you can't understand nor see it from your vantage point. I'm a much older sister, which is sort of similar in a lot of ways. I realized my brother wasn't one of the popular kids when I went to visit his school to show off the high school band program. The cute looking, well-spoken kids tend to sit together, and so do the less cute, dorky kids. I always sort of guessed though, because he had always been that weird gamer kid with beta tendencies and hardly ever got invited to birthday parties. It was just confirmed when I went to visit him. That's pretty interesting. I've always had the opposite. Growing up I always thought my older brother was the coolest methodica in the world, but as I caught up to his level and went through high school myself, he's 5 years older, I started to realize that he really just occupies a niche socially and isn't necessarily a popular person at all. Aside from being a total geek for old school Mega Man, my 11-year-old is crazy proper and very white in an almost all black school. He gets called witty constantly, and kids from the bus have beat the shit out of him and his little brother on more than a few occasions. He will now choke anyone who puts him on the defensive, which comes off a little bit like serial killer in training. Back to the proper thing. I once got a call from the principal because my son had set up a meeting with him, stating that he needed to switch schools because these kids all have behavioral issues and I can't get an education in this environment. No snark or smartassery, he was completely on point and very upset that the teacher didn't have her classroom under control. There is an HR director hiding in my kid's body. A little off, but damn do I like my boy. Thanks for tuning in for this WTF Red episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the one and only askreddit channel that will blow your mind every time.